All right, and with that, we are going to introduce our teams here tonight. We're going to start with Boulder County Roller Derby and the Flatiron Phoenixes. Starting us off tonight is Ricochet Nene, a 1190. Next is Primeval, number 213. Angle of Attack, number 23. Leslie Grope, number 33. Moose Definitely, number 35. Chi Chi Chong, number 420. Jude E. Boom, number 44. Witcher, number 49. Fleur de Beast, number 504. Freddie Mercury Poisoning, number 7. Fruit Snack, number 716. Bully Jean, number 719. Shakilia, number 789. LA's Finest, number 818. And Bruiser von Hammerstein, number 909. Welcome to our Boulder County players. Up next, we have Wasatch Roller Derby. Starting us off is Booty Queen, number 000. Next, we have Beasley, number 11. Glitter Bomb, number 1117. Big C, number 21. Off the Rails, number 22. Tenacious E, number 24. Ultraviolent, number 254. Leia Herdanya, number 321. Phoenix, number 4. Huck, number 46. Katzenjammer, number 92. Ruth Slayer Ginsburg, number 949. And Eve Seiko, number 983. It's time to play some roller derby. We'd like to welcome our officials out to the track. We have Prince Albert, Sushi, Margie Ram, D-Rex, Data, Gypsy, Busy, Rage, Bass, Whamdolph, Glen Coco, Hyperlinks, Knoxford, Doppelganger, Sujo, and Punky Bruiser. Up to jam first, we have Katzenjammer for Wasatch Roller Derby and Fruit Snack for Boulder County. And we have lead jammer, Katzenjammer, number 92, as she makes her way around the track. Fruit Snack makes her way out of the pack and is coming around the bend. Up next, jamming, we have Big C for Wasatch Roller Derby and Ricochet Nene for Boulder County Roller Derby. Big C's caught in the white pack, and she's squishing through, and she makes it through, and she is lead jammer. Ricochet is still fighting, going up against Booty and Eve. And Ricochet makes it through the pack, and it's coming around the bend. Up jamming next, we have Huck for Wasatch Roller Derby and Moose definitely for Boulder County Roller Derby. Oh, we've got a tumble on the track, and Huck gets pushed back. Moose definitely squishes around, so going up against Booty and Leia, and makes it through as lead jam, with Huck right on her tail, right behind her. Moose definitely is going up against Booty and Leia, and squishes around the corner. Oh, and Moose definitely gets a forearm. Huck is fighting through the pack. And Huck gets pushed back. Ooh, a big hit from number 23, Boulder County. Huck is pushing through. And Moose definitely is back on the track, scoring points. Wasatch is doing some offense, and Huck is through. Moose definitely back is in the pack, and is through, scoring points. Ooh, big hit on Huck there from 719. Oh, and Huck squeezes through. Jamming next, we have Cats and Jammer for Wasatch and LA's Finest for Boulder. LA's Finest is pushing Wasatch through. And gets lead jammer. Cats and Jammer still trying to find a hole. And gets through the pack. Oh, and a beautiful, beautiful apex jump there. Cats and Jammers back in the pack with LA's Finest right on her tail. Oh, we've got people down there. Woo, we got a pile up on the track. LA's Finest coming up. Oh, and she squishes right by, right on that apex. And Cats and Jammers running the pack. Pushing through the Boulder County players. As LA's Finest pushes through the Wasatch County players. Cats pushing through the Boulder County players. Right on Witcher as she pushes by, and LA's Finest pushes through. coming around the corner. Rails runs LA's finest back as Katzenjammer pushes through. Some offense on, and LA's finest calls it off. That was a big jam for Boulder County Roller Derby with 20 points, 23 points. Up next jamming, we have Big C for Wasatch and Fruit Snack for Boulder County. And we've got a timeout on the track. Don't forget to check out our wonderful vendors that we have tonight. We've got body soaps, we've got body glitter, and we've got Extra Life campaign. Let me tell you a little bit about Extra Life here. A portion of the tournament's proceeds are going to a nonprofit organization called Extra Life. They are a program of the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. Wasatch Roller Derby's donation will go to Primary Children's Hospital to help fund critical treatments, healthcare services, pediatric medical equipment, and charitable care for children there. Extra Life unites gamers from across the globe to play games and help raise funds for the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. Visit the table to view flyers and get a link to make a donation directly to Extra Life. Fruit Snack's pushing through the pack, going up against Booty, while Big C gets pushed back. Fruit Snack coming around the corner while Big C is still fighting to get through the pack. And Big C is through the pack while Fruit Snack is scoring. And Fruit Snack calls it off. Up next, we have Ricochet up against Huck. Huck is fighting through the pack while offense tries to make some space for her, while Ricochet pushes that wall forward. And Ricochet makes it through. Oh, not quite. Nope, makes it through. Ricochet back, making it through the pack, and gets pushed back by Rails. Huck is still fighting her way through the pack, while Ricochet goes up against Rails. And Ricochet through the pack, scoring. Huck gets pushed back by Witcher, while Ricochet pushes her way through the pack again. Oh, and looks like Huck has a penalty. So it's a power jam for Boulder County and Ricochet. Ooh, big hit there by Slayer. And Ricochet makes it around Glitter. Ricochet comes around the bend. Offense ready. Huck is back in the pack. And Huck makes it through the pack on her initial pass. Up jamming. Next, we have Katzenjammer up against Moose, definitely. We've got a pile up on the track. Well, Cats and Jammer and Moose definitely still fight their way through, with Cats and Jammer as the lead. Moose definitely is right behind her on the track. And the pack is running it, trying to and Cat calls it off. Jamming next, we have Big C for Wasatch and LA's Finest for Boulder. Big C's fighting her way through that pack while LA's Finest is caught up in Wasatch's. Oh, and we've got some offense there. And LA's Finest makes it through as the lead jammer. Big C still fighting her way through the pack and makes it through. And LA's Finest jumps through and gets 4 points. All right, up next we have Huck for Wasatch and Fruit Snack for Boulder County. And we have a timeout for Wasatch. During this timeout, we'd like to thank our sponsors for Wasatch Roller Derby. The Pie Pizzeria has been a Valley landmark since 1980 and continues to reign against the best pizza lists because of a business philosophy that is consistency, quality, equitable pricing, and great service are the keys to success. We'd also like to thank our other sponsor, the Beehive Skate Shop, which is Salt Lake City's inline derby and quad skate shop. Follow them at Beehive Skate Shop for updates on inventory and skating events in the Salt Lake Valley. And we're back at it with roller derby with Huck up against Fruit Snack. Fruit Snack's pushing through the Wasatch pack while Huck gets pushed out of bounds. Got some offense there trying to help Huck get through the pack. And Fruit Snack is out. It's the lead jammer. Huck gets pushed back. And Fruit Snack is through the pack again, scoring 4 points, while Huck is still fighting to get her way through the pack. Huck is through the pack on her initial pass, while Fruit Snack goes back into the pack, causes a collision on the track, and she scoots through, scoring 4 points. Up next, we have Moose definitely up against the Cats and Jammer. Got rails set up as an offense in the middle of the tripod, hoping to create some chaos there. And we've got Cats and Jammer and Moose definitely pushing through, with Moose definitely as the lead jammer. Cats and Jammer is right on her tail, though, coming around the bend. And we have Ricochet up against Big C. Ricochet pushes her way through the pack while Big C still fighting to get around the Boulder County players. Booty pushes Ricochet back. Big hits from Eve and UV there. And Big C is the lead jammer, with Ricochet coming around the bend. And Big C calls it off for 3 points. Up next, we have Huck up against LA's Finest. Huck squishes around the Wasatch wall, runs into the Boulder County players and gets pushed back. LA's Finest is pushing through and gets lead jammer. Huck is pushed back by Witcher. As LA's Finest comes around into the Wasatch pack, hits some offense. And Huck gets a track cut. So it's as LA's Finest score, it's a power jam for Boulder County. LA's Finest pushes around Glitz and scores 4 points. LA's Finest heads back into the pack. It's with some offense coming up against Wasatch's pack. A big hit there by Rails as Huck comes back into the pack. Trying to push her way through. She's taking the panty off. Trying to make that star pass as LA's Finest pushes through. Witcher pushes Huck back as LA's Finest comes around. And we have a star pass from Huck to number 22 off the rails. And LA's Finest breaks it through. That's a 24-point jam for LA's Finest. Up next, we have Katzenjammer up against Fruit Snack. Katzenjammer pushes into the pack, while Fruit Snack pushes up against that blue wall. And Fruit Snack makes it through as lead jammer. Katzenjammer follows right behind. And Fruit Snack calls it off. We have Big C up against Moose Definitely. Big C's pushing through, trying to follow Moose Definitely, and runs into the wall. Moose Definitely is pushing into a power wall up there. Big C's run back by Witcher. Well, Moose definitely does some fancy toe work to get around Booty and Glitz and make lead jammer. Big C still pushing through that pack. Well, Moose definitely is scoring points. And Moose definitely squishes through and scores 4 more points. Meanwhile, Big C's out of the pack on her initial pass. And Moose definitely runs right into Booty. Calls it off. We have Ricochet up against Huck. With some fancy from fancy offense from Katzenjammer, gets Huck pushed back. And Ricochet makes it his lead jammer. With Huck through the pack. Ricochet comes back in up against Booty Queen and Katzenjammer and calls it off. We have Big C up against LA's Finest. With a timeout for Wasatch. We have a lot of derby coming up. This is not our only bout. We got a bout tomorrow at 11 a.m. between Happy Valley and Boulder County, and we hope you'll come back to see it. But beyond that, we've got a game coming up at Carl Malone Training Center with Happy Valley's home team bout on May 20th. Then we're back at the Depot on June 3rd for You Into Madness's home team Pride bout, Pride of the West. And then on June 24th, we're back here at the Depot for Wasatch Roller Derby's Loud and Proud bout. So we hope you'll come out. Watch our social media for any updates on when those games are and how you can get tickets. We have a collision between Big C and Data on the track. Jamming for Wasatch, we have Big C, and jamming for Boulder, we have LA's Finest. Oh, and Big C gets pushed out by LA's Finest. Both jammers are fighting through. LA's Finest going up against Glitz and Beasley, while Big C pushes around. Gets pushed back by number 420 for Boulder. And LA's Finest makes it through as lead jammer. With Big C through the pack on her initial pass. And LA's Finest scores 4 points and calls it off. And we have Fruit Snack up against Katzenjammer. Wasatch taking the back walls. Katzenjammer pushes through. Takes advantage of the chaos, and Fruit Snack is through. Katzenjammer following right behind. And Fruit Snack gets called on a cut track. And Katzenjammer is called as lead. Katzenjammer makes it through, scoring 4 points. Katzenjammer's pushing through that wall. While Wasatch forces them to bridge out. Number 40, and she gets around number 44 to push through, gets 4 more points. And Fruit Snack is back in. And Katzenjammer calls it off after a pile up on the track, after scoring 4 points. We have Moose definitely up against Huck. Calling an official timeout so the officials can confer on something. We have fun on the derby track when we're not playing against each other. All right, it looks like we're about to get started again here. Or we're going to have a dance party on the track. Woo! While we're in this officials timeout, be sure to check out our raffle table. You can purchase raffle tickets at the ticket booth up front. We've got some great raffles for you tonight. Each team has 1 in the box, so we're starting off with 3 walls on each side. And Moose definitely gets lead jammer right out the gate. And Huck goes running out of the pack as Moose definitely comes back into the pack. Runs right into Glitz. It's knocked out. Huck does a jump and gets 4 points. We have Big C up against Ricochet. Eve's doing some offense and helping Big C get through that pack while Ricochet fights up against Booty Queen and UV. But Ricochet gets lead jammer while Big C's still fighting through. Ricochet comes back into the blue pack while Big C gets through on her initial pass. And Ricochet calls it off. Up next, we have LA's Finest up against Cats and Jammer. Cats and Jammer pushes her way through and gets lead jammer. While LA's Finest pushes around rails and it's out of the pack on her initial pass. Cats and Jammer gets in and is fighting through the pack while LA's Finest comes up to Cats and Jammer gets around Witcher to push through for 4 points while LA's Finest goes up against Glitz. Cats and Jammer comes and is fighting through the pack while LA's Finest comes up and runs into rails. We've got a pile up on the track and Cats and Jammer is pushing through and makes it through for another 4 points. LA's Finest still up against that Wasatch wall, pushing up against Glitz and rails and makes it through for 4 points. Cats and Jammer calls it off after a foul against Witcher. We've got an official review from Boulder County. Official reviews are a chance for each team to say that they don't think that call from the ref was right. So they're making their case right now to Prince Albert and Suzhou. While that's happening, be sure to check out our raffle booth. We've got some great prizes there for you tonight. Let me read off what some of them are. We've got a gift basket and $50 worth of gift certificates from Sweet Hazel and Company. Sweet Hazel includes vegan salty camels and various candy bars. They are delicious, let me tell you what. We've also got a gift basket of bitters and drink accessories from Grandeur View Bitters. Various bitters from the local company, plus lots of drink accessories. We also have a Utah survival kit with mini bottles and gift certificates to a local coffee shop called the Honeysuckle Coffee Company. And let me tell you, that's my favorite coffee shop, so you should get on that gift basket there. We also have a few gift baskets from Wasatch Roller Derby for you to get passes and vouchers for upcoming games. So check it out. You can get tickets up at the front ticket table. Glow would be happy to help you out up there. Official reviews can take a few minutes while the officials discuss like what happened on the track and get everybody's perspective. So while we're waiting, be sure to check out Extra Life. Play some video games for a good cause. They're along that east wall over there, so go check them out. It looks like we've come to a resolution of some kind. If the refs could let us know what that resolution is. The official review arguing that the blue jammer, that Katzenjammer cut on the track, and after the officials discussed it, they decided that no, Katzenjammer did not cut on the track, and so Boulder loses their official review. Now we've got Huck up against Fruit Snack. Fruit Snack knocks Huck out. And Fruit Snack gets lead jammer as Huck takes a big hit. Fruit Snack comes around. And Fruit Snack is pushed out by Booty while Huck runs out of the pack for her initial pass. Fruit Snack makes it through for 4 points. And now we have an official review from Wasatch. Be sure to check out our vendors while we're waiting. We've got some body glitter, we've got some soaps, and outside we've got burgers and hot dogs if you're hungry. Got plenty of food for you to eat tonight. Rails is over here pumping up the Boulder County team. And the officials have conducted their review, and they're going to let the teams know what's up first, and then they'll come let us know. if the officials can let us know. We've got Moose definitely up against Cats and Jammer. Moose definitely fighting through the Wasatch pack, but Cats and Jammer gets the lead. Jammer. Rails out of the play without a penalty. Well, Cats and Jammer comes into the pack. Pushing through. Oh, down she goes. And Cat calls it off. We have Big C up against Ricochet. Ricochet goes up against Booty and gets around, getting lead. Jammer, while Big C is still fighting through the pack. She's taken off that star, but there's no pivot to hand it to. Ricochet goes up against Booty again. So it's a hard hit. As Rails hops back onto the track, Ricochet goes up against Ultraviolent and Eve Seiko and makes it through, scoring 4 points. Big C gets pushed back, making it around the Boulder pack and through on her initial pass. Ricochet gets around the Wasatch and scores another 4 points and calls it off. And that is halftime, folks. We'll be back here in 15 minutes. In the meantime, check out our food options, check out our raffle. We've got a lot of fun options for you here tonight. I have just been told that we have 10 burgers and hot dogs left outside at half price, so $3. So if you want a burger or a hot dog, now is the time to hop on it. Just 1 minute left in intermission. All right, we have officials out here. We have our players on the track. Let's get ready to play some roller derby. We have Cats and Jammer up against Fruit Snack. Wasatch has one player in the box. And Katzenjammer goes in pushing hard against that Boulder County wall. Angle of it. We've got Fruit Snack pushing up against a powerful Wasatch wall, but Katzenjammer makes it through first. As lead jammer. We've got Fruit Snack coming through with her initial pass. Katzenjammer coming up. Makes it right through the pack for 4 points. Fruit Snack glides right by the Wasatch wall, thanks to some offense. Katzenjammer's coming up. Makes it right by. Slayer knocks out Fruit Snack and takes her back. Katzenjammer comes around. Takes advantage of the chaos and falls it off. We have Big C up against Moose, definitely. Moose definitely slips by that Wasatch wall to get lead jammer. Big C pushes on by. For her initial pass, Moose definitely comes back in. Calls it off. We have Huck up against Ricochet. Huck gets knocked out. Ricochet goes up against Booty and gets knocked out. Booty runs her back. Huck is fighting against that boulder wall. While Ricochet fights to get around the pack. And Ricochet makes it through for lead jammer. And Huck swirls around Witcher to get through for the initial pass. Ricochet comes back into the pack. Goes up against Booty, but slips on by for 4 points. And calls it off. Kind of, yes. Up next, we have Katzenjammer and LA's Finest. Katzenjammer fighting against that boulder wall, but makes it through. While LA's Finest is still fighting that Wasatch wall. And LA Finest makes it through for our initial pass. Katzenjammer is lead. Big hit from Katzenjammer for 4 points, while LA's Finest fights through for 4 points for LA's Finest. Katzenjammer comes back in. 4 points for Katzenjammer, while LA's Finest comes back in. Goes up against rails and slips on by. Katzenjammer comes back into the wall. Bit of a pile up on the track, but Katzenjammer calls it off. Now we have Big C up against Fruit Snack. Big C's trying to fight through the Wasatch and the Boulder wall. Well, Fruit Snack makes it through and gets Lee Jammer. Pile up on the track, takes Big C back. Well, Fruit Snack comes up against Phoenix and UV, does an apex jump, but gets a track cut. So now it's a power jam for Big C. Big C's coming around into the pack. Wasatch offense causing chaos. Big C going up against angle of attack. Fruit Snack back on the track while Big C fights to get through. Oh, attempts an apex jump, but doesn't quite make it. Big C up against Sharkilia. Well, Fruit Snack goes through and makes 4 points. 4 points for Big C as well. Fruit Snack is up against that Wasatch wall. Takes a big hit from Eve, knocks her out. Well, Big C gets knocked back. Giving Fruit Snack the opportunity to slip through that wall. It's Fruit Snack up against Booty. Big C up against angle of attack. And Big C makes it through while Fruit Snack gets pushed back. Now we have Huck up against Moose Definitely. Official timeout. Looks like we've had a jammer change for Wasatch. It's now Moose Definitely up against Cats and Jammer. Each team has a player in the box, so it's 3 against 3. 3 against 3 in the walls. Official review for White. We saw the Boulder County coach out there talking with Prince Albert for a bit. So it looks like they've turned it into an official review. While we're waiting, be sure to check out our lovely vendors tonight. Check out our raffle, check out Extra Life Charity. And don't forget, if you want hamburgers or hot dogs, they're half off outside right now for $3. Looks like the officials are now conferring with the team captains and coaches. And it looks like the break gave Huck time to fix whatever was going on with her skate, so it's now Huck up against Moose definitely. If the officials can let us know like what was going on. Maybe not. So Huck up against Moose definitely. Moose definitely goes up against Glitz and rails and gets right on by. Going up against Glitz and slips on by for lead jammer. Now Huck is still fighting against that boulder wall. And Witcher's going to the box. Meanwhile, Huck gets pushed back while Moose definitely gets 4 points. Oh, big hit on Huck there. While Moose definitely slips by for another 4 points. And Huck gets through for an initial pass. Moose definitely coming up into that Wasatch wall. Going up against rails. Gets pushed out and calls it off. Now we've got Ricochet up against Cats and Jammer. Looks like we have 2 Boulder County players in the box. Ricochet still fighting as Cats and Jammer's pushing through. Pile up on the track. And Cats and Jammer makes it through for lead jammer. Ricochet makes it through for her initial pass. Cats and Jammer goes into the pack, hits hard, runs that line, and slips right on by for 4 points. Ricochet pushes on through and also makes it through for a 4 points. Meanwhile, Cats and Jammer's coming into the pack. Slips on by and calls it for 4 points. Now we have Big C up against LA's Finest. Full rosters on each side, nobody in the box. LA's Finest pushes through that pack. Goes up against Leia and UV. Now rails and Slayer and makes it through. Meanwhile, Big C is still skirting through and makes it for her initial pass. LA's Finest comes back in, barreling into the pack and gets, almost pushed out by Slayer, but not quite. While Big C comes back in, but LA's Finest calls it off before Big C can score any points. We've got Huck up against Fruit Snack. Huck slips on by the Wasatch wall, runs right into the boulder wall, while Fruit Snack gets pushed up against Phoenix and Splits and slips on by. Huck gets pushed back and starts running through. Gets knocked out of bounds while Fruit Snack comes back around for a scoring pass. Puck makes it through for an initial pass. Fruit Snack comes in, hits up against that wall, and calls it off. We've got Katzenjammer up against Moose Definitely. Moose Definitely slips on by. Katzenjammer's fighting through and gets lead jammer. Moose Definitely still fighting. Takes off the penalty. Pushing through. And we have Moose Definitely through the pack on her initial. Katzenjammer's back in, gets knocked out. She's fighting through the pack. And calls it off. Now we have Big C up against Ricochet. Big C pushing through that pack with the help of some offense. We've got Ricochet back up after a fall on the track, and Big C's pushing up against angle of attack. Ricochet makes it through for lead jammer. Oh, they're saying she's not lead jammer. I'm not sure we have a lead jammer, folks. But Ricochet makes it through for 4 points while Big C still fights. Ricochet comes back into the pack. Runs up against Booty and Glitz for another 4 points. Big C fights her way through, runs up against angle of attack. Giving the Boulder wall enough time to reform around her, while Ricochet makes it through, going up against UV. Oh, and UV gets called on a low block. And we have a star pass from Big C to Rails. So Rails is now fighting through with that star pass. And Rails makes it through. While Ricochet scores another 4 points. Rails is pushing through that pack. While Ricochet scores another 4 points. Rails makes it through. Oh, and gets called on a penalty. Meanwhile, Ricochet is still pushing through for another 4 points, and it's called off. It's a 24-point jam for Boulder County. We've got LA's Finest in a power jam here with Rails in the box, ready to come back on the track in 30 seconds. LA's Finest fighting her way through the chaos. Katzenjammer goes down, giving LA's Finest a chance to get through the pack. And LA's Finest makes it through again for another 4 points. Meanwhile, Rails makes it onto the track. takes off the star pass, ready to hand it off to Kat. Ooh, and takes a big fall. And we have a star pass to Katzenjammer. Meanwhile, LA's Finest is making her way through the pack and calls it off just as Katzenjammer comes into the pack. We've got Huck up against Fruit Snack with one blocker in the box. And Fruit Snack makes it through the Wasatch wall for lead jammer while Huck is still fighting against that Boulder wall. Trying to get some offense from Wasatch, and here comes Fruit Snack. Huck gets knocked out. Fruit Snack comes back into the pack. Fruit Snack goes up against Booty for another 4 points. Meanwhile, Huck gets pushed back. Fruit Snack goes up against Blitz. Doesn't quite get knocked out. Huck is pushing, has taken off that star pass. And we have a star pass to Eve Seiko. Got Fruit Snack coming up again for another pass through the pack. While Eve still fights her way to get through. And Eve has made it through. Oh, Fruit Snack goes down. Now we have Katzenjammer up against Moose Definitely. And we have a timeout from Wasatch. While we're in the timeout, maybe you could Glow text me some of the raffle numbers. Glow, if you're listening. There's still time to buy raffle tickets. Ooh, and Beasley knocks out Moose Definitely in a big hit. Meanwhile, Katzenjammer is fighting through the pack. Ooh, it's a photo finish with Katzenjammer as the lead jammer. And she calls it off immediately. All right, and we have Ricochet Nene up against Big C. Ricochet Nene is fighting to go up against that wall. Big C's fighting to get through the boulder wall. And Ricochet Nene makes it through and lead jammer. Big C still fighting through that wall. Big C still fighting through while Ricochet Nene comes around for 4 points. Comes back into the pack. Ricochet Nene goes up against Booty but slips on by for another 4 points. And we have a star pass from Big C to Eve Seiko, number 983. Ricochet Nene comes back into the pack. And scoots on through. Meanwhile, Eve is fighting through that boulder pack. The offense from her team. Ricochet Nene comes back in. Well, Eve gets 4 points. Ricochet Nene comes also back around for another 4 points. And now we've got Huck up against LA's Finest. Five seconds is called. And here we go. We're fighting our way through the pack. Huck pushes up against that boulder wall. LA's Finest gets pushed back and slips around the wall and makes lead jammer. Huck gets knocked out and run back by number 420 on Boulder. While LA's Finest slips back up through that Wasatch wall and scores another 4 points. LA's Finest comes back up against that wall while Huck gets knocked out and run back. And we have a power jam for Huck while LA's Finest gets called on a track cut. And we have a star pass from Huck to number 22 off the rails. Oh, we've got a pile up on the track. Well, Rails fights her way through. And Rails makes it through for 4 points. Rails is coming back around. While LA's Finest fights her way through. Another pile up on the track. Oh, we got a hard hit. Rails fights her way through for another 4 points. While LA's Finest also comes through for another 4 points. And that's the jam. Now we've got Cats and Jammer up against Fruit Snack. 5 seconds is called. Cats and Jammer slips through the Wasatch wall to fight through that boulder wall, but Fruit Snack gets lead jammer. Cat's hot on her tail while the pack is running it. Fruit Snack runs up against Booty Queen and calls it off. We've got Big C up against Moose Definitely. 5 seconds is called. Moose Definitely pushes up against the Wasatch wall while Big C tries to fight through that Boulder wall. And Moose Definitely makes it through for lead jammer. Big C takes off the star. Fighting her way through the pack while Moose Definitely comes back up, slips around for 4 points. Moose Definitely comes up. Runs into Eve, runs into Booty, runs into Rails and Glitz. Both jammers are pushing up against those walls as hard as they can. When this happens, you got to bridge out between the walls. Booty pushes Moose Definitely out, and Eve gets through, or C gets through. Moose Definitely makes it through for another 4 points and calls it off. Now we've got Huck up against Ricochet. Ricochet goes up against that Wasatch wall and slips through for lead jammer while Huck is still fighting through. Ricochet goes up against Slayer, but slips on by for another 4 points. Huck makes it through the Boulder wall for her initial pass. Ricochet goes up against Eve and Slayer and slips on by for another 4 points. Huck is in the wall for 2 points for Huck. We've got Katzenjammer up against LA's Finest. Katzenjammer knocks LA's Finest out, pushes through the wall. LA's Finest is slipping on by, while Katzenjammer is still fighting that wall. And Katzenjammer breaks through. LA's Finest gets knocked out by Glitz and gets pushed back. And makes it on through for 4 points, so Katzenjammer is pushed back. Katzenjammer is fighting through that wall. Oh, and gets knocked out. Katzenjammer slips on through while LA's Finest fights up against Booty and Leia. And slips on through for another 4 points. Katzenjammer's fighting on through that Boulder wall. Gets knocked out and pushed back. And LA's Finest calls it off. And that's the game, folks. Our scorekeepers are going to tally up their scores. And that's the final score, 303 to 136. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Be sure to come on out and give our teams a high five.